Wait a minute. These are green. Are we changing seasons? Oh, thank the good Lord, it's spring. Hey guys, Wheatywaffle here today, and we are back in City Skylines 2 playing our city of Walden. And the first thing we're going to do today is respond to a couple of your comments. The first comment comes from Chronically Sleep Deprived, and they told me that they think this rail really should be elevated. It's unrealistic to have it cross so many intersections. In some way, I agree. I also do think that, if we imagine that the scale here is shrunk down a bit, this kind of thing does happen every now and again, but I can also see us wanting to raise it. So I think what's going to happen is we're going to keep this rail line here raised up and send it through this area, connecting into a raised train station, which I guess is probably the first thing we should find. I rarely, if ever, build with elevated rail stations. We've got sunken bypass. We've got French elevated bypass. Oh, actually, that could be quite fun to have an elevated bypass train station. So let's actually go ahead and start building this. We're going to just play this section here on pause because I do have to separate this connection. And I wonder if I need to move this in some. Yeah, this needs to go in like just a little bit. It's not crazy, but it is a little bit too far out. Let's go ahead and just delete all of these. Oh my God, I have to click yes on every single one. Slowly but surely getting there. And then let's move this back. I honestly just think we take a 2-lane road. We connect this straight up through here at the 90. We then move this bus stop to here. And then we just get rid of these connecting roads. It's a little bit tight on the turns there, but I think that's okay. So now that that's tucked in a bit, we should be able to line this basically up. Oh, that's actually perfect. We're going to position this right here. So the entrance for this area is right next to this bus line. Does this have any upgrades? It does. A bus terminal, an integrated bus station that allows direct bus traffic to and from the station, is available with multiple pedestrian shelter designs with the same layout. Oh, and it just changes that? Absolutely. Absolutely. Let's move this bus connection inside of here. I'm just going to grab this, move it to this. We'll move it here. Okay, and it does that, which just is crazy to me. Okay. We know. We've unlocked so many things. Okay, so we're going to leave this like this. The question now is how do we get this over? And I think we actually have to lower most of this. So I'm going to just start by deleting everything that's here, including this intersection. And we're going to try to just drop this down pretty quickly. And I probably can do this with the parallel tool. No? If I was to do a curve and do constant slope, maybe we even send a track across first, because then we'll kind of have a sense of how high we can place everything before it becomes a problem. If I just reduce this down and start to raise this up, like how do I get, oh, I guess I just want this to be at 0. Man, I haven't played in a week. You can tell, can you not? If we send it straight on out, it crosses right over just fine. And actually, it almost gives more sense to why this dips down right there. That low-key worked out perfectly. We do have this bump that I don't think we actually need anymore. So let's remove these guys and let's see, are you going to work nicely or are you going to make this really challenging for me for no reason? You're going to make it challenging for no reason. Although if I go a little bit further, it seems to work just fine. There we go. That removes that bump. It makes it look less like a mistake. Maybe we'll even make some adjustments there. I'm not entirely sure. Now I do want to re-add our entrances and our exits. I'm thinking here, how far back would I have to go before this lets me place something? Pretty far back. I don't want parallel tool on. And we're going to just send this right here. Send it straight along the side. What are you overlapping? Are you hitting a pole? You are hitting a pole. Better yet, let's do this. Let's just drag it from here straight on out. Get it to come to the far side of that pillar. And then we're just going to merge this right back up and in. Rotate this whole thing around. Give this a 2-lane connection here. Is that too much? We'll place it right in the middle. And then I do want to turn off, if I use the traffic mod, I can do lane connector tool, click on this guy. We're going to remove unsafe turns, and we're going to remove the option for you to go straight and use that incorrectly as a bypass. There we go. I think I might actually snake this right through here behind this radio mast. But first, let's continue just to reconnect this back up. So we've got to get rid of basically all of these level crossings here. And we're just going to send this straight through, right from here, straight along, all the way over to here. It doesn't actually change in height any. Crosses right over top all of those roads, which frankly even looks nicer. So I really do appreciate the comment because this is already a better connection. Then we want to get this to connect right into there. So curve tool, constant slope is on. There's a 2% grade change here. If I were to bring this down, actually, let's do this. Let's bring it here so it's barely changing in height. What's the height change there? Oh my God, nothing. Absolutely nothing. I don't actually know what that curve was, but that's actually not terrible. Yeah. I'll take that. That's pretty good. Because then we can also even fit in a path here to connect over to this path. Am I going to do that this second? Probably. Gets fixated on the smallest of things that is not even connected to what we were trying to do. But we already have a crosswalk here. And you know what? While we're at it, let's curve one right behind this school. Yeah, I like that a lot. Then I'm even going to go ahead and just take these concrete pieces. We're going to send them straight back. And then I think the first step is we give this a key wall all the way along the side, right? It's elevated from everything around it. The train is entering an elevated stage. We like that. I can't really do it on any of this. That's fine. I did download another mod. I think it's called Raised Planters. Maybe it's in here. Here we go. All right. I got the Raised Planters, and there's a bunch of different sizes. But what I think we could do with these is we could do some raised planters. We've got this size, which is a little small. It's a 1x4. This is a 4x16. That's exactly what I want. So what I'm going to do is rotate this by 90, I think 90 degrees. Yep, rotate by 90. We're going to do a fence mode. And then I'm also going to, I think here, increase the distance so that we only get 3 of them. If they start there, we can send it right along to here. Get 3 of these there on the back side of the school. Yes, yes. And then I think we do birches for this. I'm going to lock them at the mature stage. And you can just place these right on top, which is so nice. Or maybe not birches. What if we did the apple trees? Yeah, let's do the apple trees. Now, I want to grab the urban bench, the garden bench. Here we go. Again, we're going to use our prop line tool. I'm going to reduce this down to maybe 10, right? Just like so. Maybe even a little bit lower, maybe 8. I want to get a third in the middle. 6. There we go. And we'll place some benches right along the sides here. Look at that. Oh, that's so nice. It's just a little extra propage right there. That works really well. It makes me want to put like a park or something right here. Is there any? No, there's just an extension to the top. Now, I've gotten completely sidetracked, but I think we're going to come back and put a park here. We'll do that in a second. So we've got this all connected in here. Now I honestly just need to connect it to the outside. Let me turn off anarchy, or turn on anarchy. We'll come in here, and we're just going to do this right from here, right to here. It's only a negative 1.3 grade change. Turn anarchy back off. We've got that back out into the world, and that should have fixed our connections. We want a line that goes in and a line that goes out. So right now, nothing's actually bypassing, but that's okay. All right, so now that's reconnected. That looks great. We could even expand the parking lot back here if we choose to in the future. Do need to add in an additional exit here. We're going to start with just a plain one-way. I mean, I guess actually, if we do a complex curve, and we complex curve like this, we can get right on the other side of that pillar, switch to a regular curve right about here, and connect that up and in. Beautiful. Beautiful. I'm going to upgrade the first portion of this. There's only one space this fits. So we're going to upgrade that into 2 lanes. And then when we get over to here, you'll go down into 1 lane before you briefly switch over into 4 lanes so you can transfer over. We don't need a pull off lane here, although the nodes are perfectly lined up, so maybe why not? And then that answers that question. We like it. If I do the line connector tool here, we can remove the unsafe turns. And I don't want you to be able to go straight on through. That should never happen. You can go here or you can go here. Actually, no, you can't go here. There's going to be 1 lane that turns there. And then this lane's going to go here. I guess technically that might be an unsafe turn. But we want you to be able to get back off and turn around if you need to. Okay. So it's a small update to that, but that raises the entire train line and just gives us something a little bit more interesting to look at, which I like. The second comment we're going to address today is from Maddox Jones 1, who said that this parking lot doesn't make sense because typically when you do parking, you have the parking face the entrance and exit of the entity that the parking is for. That way you can just find the aisle you need and walk down it without having to walk through streams of cars. Again, I somewhat agree. I somewhat disagree. I'm thinking of like Longwood Gardens. When you go there, all the parking is situated this way, even though the entrance is something like this. It's not a stadium, but I don't know if you could hear that, but my washing machine just finished running. But I see the comment. I see the intention there, and I do like the idea. So I think we will go ahead and just rotate this around. There we go. So there's our updated road here. We've got all these connections throughout. I could go through and place some paths in here, but what I'm going to do instead is we're going to use the invisible pedestrian path. Let's see if we can find that. Invisible pedestrian path. And I'm just going to take this and connect from right here all the way through the middle up to here. Then we'll do the same with this one. See if we can snake this all the way through the middle over to here. It did change those trees. Couldn't tell you why. We'll leave all this alone here. Why did all of you guys become tiny versions of yourself? All right, so there's the new parking lot. We've got invisible paths going through these center sections so you can walk quickly into this area. And then we've got trees throughout as well as the new oriented parking. I like that. I think right here for this front area, I'm going to do a string of rocks, and then we're also just going to go in and place down some grass and just call it a day. We'll separate these by 10. We'll separate these by 10. And then we'll just smack down some mowed lawn. Actually, this will be regular grass because I would imagine it'd be very hard to mow around each of those rocks. Connect all that up and in. Boom. All right, so there's the new parking lot. There's the new train station. Thank you so much for your comments. I really appreciate them. And now let's go over here and add this park. And I think we can also unpause. But if we're already over here, we might as well sneak in just a little park. Nothing crazy. The fountain park could be cute, but it's a little too large. We've already placed the hedge park in this area. I do kind of think that a small park makes a lot of sense. Or we could do this circular park, have this place right here. It's technically separated from everything, but I think that's okay. And I'm half tempted to say, what if we just took this surface, this concrete surface, and almost treated this in some way like a plaza? There we go. That's actually pretty nice. It's a little expansion there to that elementary school. All right, now onto what I really want to work on today. This skyline is just not working for me. I'm going to go ahead and just jump in here. We're going to delete really a whole host of things. We've got a lot of buildings along here that at the time that I placed them, it made sense. Can I get rid of it? There we go. But I want to just kind of switch this up a little bit. Some of these are too tall, and I don't think it's keeping up with the way our city is growing. So I'd like to just pull some of this back and make a few changes. Is this locked at its level? It's a level 3. Let's leave that. We'll leave this really tall one. It's kind of unique sitting there on its own. I also just feel like it's saving way too often. Auto saves are every 5 minutes. Man, 5 minutes is moving real fast. All right, so now with all those cleared out, I also think I might change this. I know there's like a ton of people that live in these buildings and we're just deleting all of them, but I actually think that would be worthwhile. I want to take some time to just kind of refresh and revamp this a bit. Now, in between when we built this and now, we do have these new high density office evolution buildings, which I think these could look great over here. What kind of buildings do we have? We do have a 3x3. We have two 4x4s. We don't have any 5. Oh, here we go. We have a 5x6, which at least here in this like denser downtown area, this can make a lot of sense being right there on the corner. Then we could place potentially 2 other buildings behind it. If we were to do, there's no 4x5. Is there a 4x4? There is a 4x4. We also know there's a 3x3. So we could do a 3x3 here, or we do a 4x4. Let's do a 3x3. There we go. We get a 3x3 there. All right, so that's going to redevelop a little bit. Right here, I do like the size of these guys. I just don't want them to get any larger. Now, in the patch notes that Paradox has released for the next update, they did mention we're going to have the Make Historical feature, and I cannot wait for that to be a part of the base game. That's just like one of my favorite features from the previous game, being able to lock buildings when you place them so that you don't have to worry about them changing in size too drastically. I'm going to lock some of these guys. I might actually even get rid of this building here and replace this with another office building. Let's go back in here. I think I would want, no, I can't do any more than that. We could do another 3x3, and we could do the high density office evolution. It's going to be the same building as that one, but potentially being on a different block. That's not going to be a big deal. Or we could try this 4x3. It's just going to give me a 3x3. Okay, that's fine, because you know what that means. We come in here, and we can just place a path around it. Let's turn everything here off. Let's place a path straight on back to here, and then place another path straight on over to here, and just call that section a day. Okay, so that's going to significantly change that area. This has already got its upgrades, so this is as high as it possibly can be. How is the elementary school going? 82 people, that's it? You only serve Emerald Point, and you have 82 people there? Let's also do Bayview. Oh, you know why? We deleted all those high-density buildings we had there. That's part of the problem. All right, right here, I think we do some high-density high-density residential buildings. And what I would like to do is grab high buildings. Let's set this to like level 3 and see what we can get. And we've got space for like a 6x6. So we could do something kind of large over here, which I wouldn't hate. I really like this building. We used to have this, and then it upgraded and changed. What if we were to place this right here along Florence? And then I am going to lock it at its current level, right? Just gives us a nice skyline view. You can still see through. You can see the bay. That's great. There is a bit of a hill here, which I don't mind. I wonder if really what I do is leave that open. I know I've been saying I want to work on that more, and I wonder if this is one of those spots to do that. If we expand that surface all the way through. This section here, you know what? This section could be the small parking lot. It would fit perfectly. It would just kind of be a separate piece of this building here. We could even take this surface and wrap it around. It'll help hide some of the issues there. But wrap that all the way around, and then we'll pull this grass surface all the way through here. And I'm half tempted just to say, like, let's send it all the way through. But I think the first thing we want to do before we do that is see about adding in some paths. We can send this straight on up to here. Although it does look like, even though it said it wouldn't, it looks like it's going to mess up that building. If I just click move it, and I just scoot this building over, can I just grab this building too? Like, why can't I pick up the building itself? Buildings is checked. I guess because it's on that surface. Let's get rid of it. Let's get rid of it. Let's do this first. Let's add in some pathing right here. That's going to connect straight on down and in. We'll curve it there. And we'll curve it right here. There's one spot where it works. Just like that. Beautiful. Then, do we send a path through that way? I don't think we do. I think right here we figure out what we want to place here instead. That was technically a business building, so I could get into doing some high density commercial. Doesn't look like I can use the same filters though, which kind of sucks. If I just type in high, here we go. We've got level 3 locked. What options do we have? This building here, not too bad. Pretty boring, but I think I like the height of that. And I like that it's not just like cumbersome. And if we did a 2 here, we could do a third one here as well. So that's 2 wide. What other 2 wides do we have? We've got some of these smaller guys. They're not the worst. They're also not the best. You've got a few taller buildings. That feels just too tall. We already have that there. I would like to see some, some change in height a little bit, but I don't want it to be drastic. Part of what we're trying to do is correct some of that really, really drastic height change we were seeing. Our city's just not ready for those size buildings. And I don't want to rush it. I want to enjoy watching things change with time. Honestly, this one's not bad at all. Let's lock all these here at level 3, because I do want to keep this height. But now we've got, a little bit more of a business corridor right there along that road. People are already filling in this parking lot. I am going to make some edits to this little street. Like I said, this is probably going to be a bit more of a detail-y episode than normal. We haven't really spent time doing something like that, and so I thought that would be kind of a fun change of pace. Let's bring a path. Can I slide a path right through here? Connect it up and in. Turn off, connect to the side of a building, and give myself a curve. And then we're going to send this straight up here and connect into there. And that will actually work just fine because we've got this. You know what? Actually, no. No. Get rid of this. While we're looking at it, I can just tell you right now, this all needs a retaining wall on this side. As long as it doesn't mess anything up, we're going to retaining wall. That flattens that whole area out. We've got our grass there. We've got a path that loops around. It connects a little weirdly. We're going to hide that with a bush or two. People are already taking it, which is really a good sign. Wait a minute. These are green. Are we changing seasons? Oh, thank the good Lord. It's spring. I'm so happy it's spring. All right. It does reduce the density a bit. But what I like about that is that we've got this parking lot tucked in here, which I just feel is something you would have. Look at that building. I've not seen these yet. I've not built any of them. That's gorgeous. Like, I almost don't want that to level up. We're locking that just like that. I don't want that to change. Now, these being exactly the same and being that orientation isn't great, but because they're going to update, that might get better. Now, I'm going to place another one of these, and I almost want to place it right here on this corner. This one I'm not going to lock. We're going to let this change with time as it decides. Will we get rid of all this here? All this grass? I think so. I think this is just going to all become surface. And then what we can do is come in here with maybe even one of these little planters. There's an 8x8, 4x4, 8x8. There's a little 2x2. Oh, that's actually incredibly cute. Let's do 3 of each of these. And then in the middle of those, let's do maybe a baby birch tree. Right? Like, it's not too tall. And just have some trees along that side. Oh, that's actually like quite beautiful. I like that a lot. Now, this area here, we started turning this into like a little bit of a park area. We've got some trees that are dying. I think now that we've got more development in here, there's more that could happen. So let's do this. Let's get rid of all the trees in this section, because I think that there's more connectivity that could happen here. I'm going to turn this off, turn off anarchy. Oops. Hitting all the wrong buttons. And I want to close out of this, close out of this. I want to scoot this right next door to that parking lot. There we go. There we go. Let's add some more connectivity in here. It doesn't need a crosswalk, but it does need to connect up and in, just like so. And then I also think we could take this and curve it down into this intersection. And maybe even use that to kind of straighten this intersection out just a bit. Right? Do we want one from this side? I feel like I do. If I was to grab this and send it straight up and into here, we kind of end up having a little bit of a park here, which I like. Anarchy's off, so we're all good on that front. Let's expand this surface just to envelop this whole section. Then, let's make this look nice. How? I don't know yet. I do think we need a fountain. Do we have a fountain over here anywhere? That has a pavilion. Yeah, we don't have any fountains over here. So let's pick a fountain. I mean, the large fountain. This fountain is gorgeous. It works so well. I think over there is strange, but I think maybe right here. Oh, wait, hold on. Yeah, no. Put the fountain here. And then let's actually use the continuous curve. Everything's turned off. We'll also connect in there. We do something like that, right? And then I think we need to do some beautiful garden work in this area. So I'm going to start with the wild bush. These are all going to be locked at their level because I don't want to spend all this time building out these gorgeous little beds and then only to have them messed up because a bush decided to grow up and then nothing looks right. All right, so we're going to have two bushes there opposing this fountain here in the middle. I almost want to do the like little tiny raised beds we did in a members only build ages ago. Like if I was to just raise this section up, let's go down to 30 and 30, maybe even smaller, 10. Right? Let's do this. Let's grab this height here and just do like a little raised bed here. We're going to do a little raised bed here. We'll do a raised bed here, and then we'll leave this open as lawn. Now, here's what we do. Grab the forestry surface. I need to, unfortunately, delete the grass we already have. So say goodbye to the grass. But now we've got these hills, right? And they look a little crazy. They actually might look a little too high. Let's reduce them a little bit more. Go with me on this journey. And I'm going to basically use the first typography line as the shape of the bed. Gives it a bit more of an organic shape, makes it look more realistic. I think sometimes we can get too focused on everything being perfect because we have all the tools to do that in this game, and that's not what it would look like in real life. If we already deleted the surface, I might as well also replace this with some kind of tile, no? If we just go around this center area, fill that in with a nice tile, and then we will do mowed grass for the rest of this. Now, I'm just going to do this in sections. All right, now we've got 3 new raised beds. I've got some little grass area here, which is great. Then we're going to fill it in with some beautiful trees. So we are going to use the apple tree. We're going to place a few of these in kind of the larger sections of the beds, right? We've got like a little bump out here. We'll place one there. We'll place another one there. Then we're going to rely pretty heavily on these bushes to kind of support the trees. I like to think of, when I'm making these beds, I like to think of it as the same kind of process when we're trying to build a skyline, right? You want to have some signature buildings. You want to have some large pieces that draw your eye, but then you want to slowly transition down into a more flat and consistent height. And then if I do the cultivated flower, this can bring in a little extra color as well and get a little bit closer to the edge of the dirt, but I want to keep the edge of that dirt. Because if we get rid of the edge, then what was the point of placing it there to begin with, you know? I mean, I guess we'll know it's there, but it's not the same as seeing it. Oh, look at that. That's gorgeous. And it gives a little protection from the streets. Feels like almost like it's sunken in the middle there. Now, right in here, I think I'm going to have, this is very like organic and free flowing. So I think right in here, I'm going to do a collection of basically all the same tree. Maybe we'll do chestnuts. If I do a curve tool here, and we just do a collection of chestnuts there, and a collection of chestnuts there. They're all going to be locked at their own height, but that's kind of indicating like this is somewhat of part of the school, and this is more the park space here. This is very cute. Very cute. All right, let's add in some benches. I definitely think we need benches. I'm going to use the urban bench 1 because these benches, I think, to me just look the nicest. I'm just going to place a few of them. We'll keep them kind of centralized to the fountain. And then I will probably leave it there. Maybe we'll place 2 more along this way. But leave that as the end of it. I don't actually ever play at night, but we could think about doing something with some lights. Do we want to do one of these kind of pavilions? You know, a little pavilion space for you to come over and spend time in. I didn't mind this, to be honest with you. With that curved shape. It's still a lawn. And you can still go underneath of it and relax, but it just gives something unique to that little section, which I like a lot. Okay, so we've got more parkland here. That's great. Now, once the upgrade or the update comes out, it might be out by the time this video goes live, we might change this building back into the round office, but for now, we're going to leave it as it is. I'm not going to place that just yet because I do want to keep this office demand. I never finished this little section, so let's go ahead and just do that quickly. I didn't realize so many people would use that, but I guess it's better than having to cross here and then cut down. All right, I'm already thinking that looks just a little bit more realistic as a skyline. It is making me, when I zoom out a bit, realize that we might actually want to change out some of these buildings. I know we just zoned some of them, but I'm wondering if instead we get rid of all of this. Then I want to think about placing down a path right through the center. Don't let it make any intersections, but just have a path dividing all this. That gives me a little bit better sense of what should go behind here. We've got a parking lot here. I don't want to do the same thing. I could use some more death care over here, I think. If we were to do the Netherlands crematorium, it's not going to fit there, but this could fit like right here across the water, if we're being totally frank. So we could place this right here. It could service all of this area. It also comes with additional parking, which I don't necessarily think we need just yet. And maybe what we do is we fake this to look like there's paths even when there's not. So I'm going to bring this in here and connect it right up to there. Turn all this on. And we're going to snap this so that it's at the 180. At the 180. Looks like that path continues downward. We'll send this right to here. And then we'll send this down. And then we'll also do the same thing here where we add another node like right about here. And then we can make this into like a little pathway there. Then, because I'm figuring this game out with time, guys, it just takes me forever. If I do invisible ped, we get the invisible pedestrian path. And if I turn all this off, can I just go like this? So now I've got a little extra pathing there, which is great. The back side here, I almost feel like this entire area needs to be filled with just a smattering of different kinds of plants. Let's turn all this off. Wind this over this direction. Reconnect to these corner pieces just like so. Right? This whole thing is going to be filled with a ton of different types of trees and plants. Just like that. Like just a green wall there. Absorb some of the moisture when it rains. We love that. Let's get rid of the trees that are on this road. And even that little one. Just so that can kind of shine across the street from our small bus station. All right. I like that a lot. I like that a lot. I think that fills that area nicely. Now, back to this particular plot of land that we decided to remove everything from and then place nothing back. Let's figure out exactly what we want here. I would like to have, that's a 1, 2, 3, that might even be 5. It might be a 5. If I look at a lot width of 5, and we do a depth of 5, we could probably find something. If I turn off the street view, if I rotate this politely, does this fit in here? It does. A 5 by 5 does fit, just barely, but it does fit. So then the question becomes, what exactly do we want over here? I want it to be something nice, just to kind of fill in this section a bit. I think that's actually quite nice. It's the right height too. We're going to lock that in place. Can we squeeze a path in between the back? Any issues? None. None. We love that. Okay, great. So that's all good. Then we've got this area here that needs something as well. I don't want to do any more gardens or anything like that. We've already got a lot of tree coverage all along here, and we've got a decent number of gardens. I think this would look best if it was filled with buildings. The challenge is, what are those buildings going to be? If I do a 6x6, we've got a few different ones. This one is very similar to that guy there with like the terrace around the front, so I wouldn't want to do that. This, actually, a 6x6 isn't even going to fit. If I do a 6x5, would that fit? Technically, yeah. But not really even. Let's do the 5x5. Let's scroll all the way to the bottom. We've got this medium flat. We've got this building, a little too small for me. We got that building, doesn't really fit the vibe. I would like some height to it. Doesn't have to be anything substantial, but I would like something. This could be nice right here. But before we place it, let's keep looking. Is this what I placed there? Yeah, that's already over there. What if we do a 4x5? Is there something unique? Ooh, this is kind of modern. It's got a little modern edge to it, which I like. If I was to rotate it like this, could it fit right here next to that road without interrupting our path? It fits. It fills in the area in front of it. If we just lock that in place, it's like a nice modern building. It also means we could take this connection and just send this straight down, which is super valuable because here is a bus stop. Let's go ahead and fill in this little section. I think we're going to do something similar with these smaller trees. A little bit of an overgrown stretch, a little overgrown patch, if you will. Yeah, just an overgrown little section. We're going to ignore that little clipping there. Just pretend it's not happening. Don't look at it too hard. And then we have this little area. Now, see, and I'm conflicted because part of me is like, what if this all just became like this beautiful green space here in the middle? But I think for now we will have buildings because that just makes more sense to me. Let's have some buildings. If we want to change them in the future and cut them down, we absolutely could. We've got this other also very modern-esque building that could go here. It is USS Mixed 01. So it's a mixed-use housing, which is great because then we also have businesses in there. And honestly, if we do this right there, let me make sure that's locked, and we'll make sure this is locked. We then have similar heights on both sides, but they're also matching, almost like a developer bought these two plots and reworked them, which I don't mind. If I was to just tuck all that back in, I might just carry this style all the way around and through here real quick. Here we go. So just like these grassy knolls that are around that bus stop and around those two new developments. Ooh, I like that so much more. This just feels so much more realistic for the size of the city that we're working with. Now we are getting some serious traffic here being caused by this stoplight and the people coming off the highway. Eventually we'll have to upgrade all this, but I like that we've got a little traffic in the city. It's always nice. Okay, we did end up, I think, taking a pretty big hit to our population. We had started off today with closer to 40, maybe 42,000, and now we're down to 39. So I will say we probably want to add in a little bit of extra residential. Exactly where, though, I don't know. We've got this little knoll here we haven't done much with. We could continue some of these buildings here. We've got Emerald Pier, and then we have Bayview here, which cuts through the middle. I almost want to make a little adjustment to these two districts, and that will then inform what goes where. I want to scoot this back. Maybe we'll start with this one. There we go. Scoot this back so that all of this is a part of Emerald Pier and not a part of Market Town. And then we're going to scoot all of this back so that all of this is a part of Emerald Pier. But then get rid of all this, move this down, get rid of that, get rid of that. Then all of this here will just become a part of Bayview, which actually makes more sense because then Bayview actually has a section where it has a view of, I don't know, the bay, which is helpful. Okay, we did used to have a ferry stop over here. Is it time to add that back? I feel like with this bike infrastructure here, or that bus infrastructure there, having just another connection here would probably be wise. If I just grab the ferries and just stick one right here on the edge. Yeah, I think we place one right here. We then connect this up and in. And honestly, we're going to just do it kind of haphazard. You never see any of this anyway, so it's not that deep to me. And then this particular guy that's going down this direction is going to loop over and stop here. And stop here on the way back. Yeah, so you stop here, here. There is one stop here. And then there's another stop all the way up here. As we continue to expand this, this might be like the touristy line that goes all the way through, but this is the coastline that does a few stops, whereas you have the other ones that are bridges kind of back and forth across. All right, the last thing I think we need to do for this type of redevelopment is replace this block here and figure out what goes on in this little corner. I also hate these. Is that crazy to say? I just don't think they look very nice. If we get rid of all that, we have a few blocks we have to fill out now. We also have this plot here, which I don't exactly know what could go there, but I think it needs a building. Let's see if we can find one that we like. If we look for, I think a 4 deep is going to be too much. Yeah, that's absolutely clipping into that other building. All right, let's do a 3 deep. I don't mind doing one of the Japanese ones, but I don't want it to have like parking in the front. I do want it to go all the way up to the road, and that might be a challenge. You know what? What if we did that? It's a collection of houses, which got shops on the bottom but houses up top. You're overlooking this. It's not the best place to live, but it fills it nicely, and it gives it just a different building that we haven't seen anywhere else in the city, which I like. Is that one locked? It is. Okay, great. Now, back to these blocks, which I think are going to be way harder to fill than I imagine. I really don't think these are going to be easy to fill. But I think what we want to do is let's use this guy here. We want something that's 3 deep. I want it to be business. Although, what was these mixed use? These are the mixed UK buildings. Doesn't really fit in this area. Maybe in a different area, not here. Let's see if we can figure out how to make this look, I don't know, interesting. I want this to all be very commercial. I don't want parking lots, though. I don't think we need parking lots in this area. We're just going to place a number of buildings kind of next to each other and near each other. Could we find the appropriate piece to squeeze in here to give it this a little corner lot? Yeah. Yeah. That's perfect. I think we will let this change its shape as it decides. And I think on this side, let's just do that same kind of style we've been doing throughout, where we just kind of fill this in with a whole host of bushes and shrubs. There we go. It just feels much nicer like that. I like that a lot. Okay, and that leaves 2 more sections over here. I don't fully know what I want to do in these sections. One, like I almost think, do I connect this into here and just make this another block? But then that feels like it's overloading this little roundabout here. We don't actually have a park over here. We've got one that we've designed, but in terms of actual park space, I bet you it's all going to be green. No, it's not going to be green. We don't really have parks in this area. What if right here, could we fit the tiny little, we could fit one. One doesn't feel like what I want, though. I want a few. I could see us placing some tennis courts here. That takes up 4 tiles. So we can't fit 2 of them, but we could then do 2 basketball courts next to each other. Is there any unique buildings we'd want to see in this area? Dockland Towers. Way too tall. Way too tall. I don't want the Grand Dynasty Hotel. Riverside Grill. Espresso, which would fit. I just don't know if that's the right place for that. Maybe what we do, what if we do this? What if we do the Sunshine Hotel over here? We could place it right in the middle, right? It gives a little height without totally blocking everything there. Just gives us another building here for the skyline as well, which I think I like a lot. Okay, that's not bad. How do we work around it? is another question. I feel as though I would want to see this road upgrade to have parking along both sides. Bring that parking all the way back here, almost like it's somewhat overflow parking for the hotel. We already have a pedestrian path here, so we don't need another. This area here definitely should have trees to block the hotel from the crematorium, which, unless you know it's a crematorium, just looks like a nice long building along the water's front, which I don't mind. I mean, is the whole thing just trees? Is all of this just trees? If all of it's trees, then this little section here should get something. I'm thinking that we could get away with doing just one basketball court, and then we can just fill the rest of this with trees. I think that's probably going to be perfect. We don't really need more than that. And then I'm going to come in here, get rid of most of these trees that we've got placed down. The ones that go around the back side of this building we will keep, just because it's kind of protecting it from the road as well as from everything on the other side. And we'll let that spill out a little bit over here. Okay, just like that. So we've got that kind of tree hedge there. Then I am going to leave this open. I'm going to place a grass surface down, but I do think this is kind of one of those perfect corner blocks for me to try to practice leaving green space without paths, without a bunch of trees covering it all up, just letting this area be undeveloped. And once we put the grass on it, that really just makes it feel like, you know, it's intentionally done that way. Oh, I like that a lot. That looks pretty good. Now, for this block here, I actually think it's time that we just commit to the bit and get rid of all the buildings along that edge. I did not mean to get rid of that. Did that have a bike lane before? I don't think it did. I don't think it did. I think it just had a regular road. Yeah, just had a regular road. Okay, so now we've got this little space here to work with. There's also this little opening. If it can, we're going to. Why not, right? That doesn't actually technically connect into anything, but you can pretend it connects to that building there. So then that gives us a sense of what kind of space we're working with. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 depth. We're going to let the width be... is there something that has a width of 6, but a depth of 5? I'd want to do this. Comes with its own little parking lot. I'm going to, again, lock the height of these. I don't want it to get too crazy in here. Let me adjust this surface. We'll straighten this out. And then, right here next to this historic house that we have, we're going to place another building. I think that's exactly what goes there. It's still a level 4. I don't mean to keep building level 4s, but that's actually perfect right there. I'm not even going to worry about putting stuff back there. That's fine. All right, I was doing a little bit of a testing, and so now you can see some of these buildings are rebuilding, but I think it's time we replace these 2 blocks as well. It's kind of the last thing we do in today's episode. We've got Fairview Street going behind here. Let's just clear out what's here. Let's clear out what's here. And then I'm just going to go ahead and start deleting everything we've got. It's a few more people being displaced, but the cost of living in this area is starting to rise. There's too much development, there's too many people, and so the land values are not supporting these single-family homes anymore. What's our size here? It goes 4 back. So let me clear all this out. Let's look at doing some housing. I definitely want maybe even mixed-use housing with a depth of 4. And we could do one of these brickwork buildings. I just don't want to do multiple of them. I think if we do one, we'll place it right here on that corner. We'll let it level up from there. Let's limit this to level 1 so that we're seeing just the things that are going to change over time. And we'll see what options we have. We do have a building like this. It's a different shape than what we normally build. I mean, it's a rectangle. Let's not get crazy here. But it is just a different style of building than we normally have. I do like that this is just flat. I know it's going to grow with time, but I like the initial size of that. And then do we have one that could fit here on this corner? Well, that fits there beautifully. I need it to be 3x4. This is a 3x4. Go right here on the corner too. And we're just going to increase this density. I think it needs it. We could place this somewhere. I don't want them all to look the same. You know? I do want to avoid that at all costs. That's a fun little short building there. Oh, actually, but that's even more fun. It's quite big. Can this fit in here? Oh, this can fit in here. We would have one little tile left. I think we do that, though. It's a nice collection of buildings. It looks more interesting than it is. Or more complicated than it is. This is a 2x2 space. Let's do office 2x2. And I don't remember the name of the pack. But I think it's this guy here. Yeah, the office high where like it changes over time. We'll place this right here. We're going to have to remember to come and check on these. But this building will slowly upgrade and get taller as it does so. I love that park. That park is very nice. Now, traffic here is getting a little crazy. Part of that is because we just placed down a bunch of new residential and people are moving in. We're going to expand this surface. And I am going to do a little bit more placement. I think of these planter boxes right here in the middle, or right here along the side of the building. There we go. Nice little raised section there. Kind of matches this section here. Got a little opening in the back. Pretty decent. Pretty decent. Okay. Guys, I think that might be where we leave this. It's just kind of a rework of the skyline. This feels so much more manageable and so much more realistic for the size of this city. I think the other buildings had just gotten too tall. And I also like the idea that we're saying anything past Daisyfield Street, which is this avenue with the pink bus and the bike lanes, anything past this road is this lower density other than the Sunshine Hotel. This got through some loophole. Kind of like there's a building in Chicago that got through like this, where they built this huge, I think it's condos. It might be a hotel. I'm almost certain it's condos, but they built this building through some loopholes in like a public park area, and no other building around it is even close to that height. So I think that's kind of emulating that. And then we've got this road here. Everything on the left can have higher density zoning rights. Everything on the right is lower density and kind of like protected areas there, which it also means that our new districts make a little bit more sense. I mean, I guess other than this section of Bayview. So I might even just say, let's combine all this, and move all this down. So Market Town is now a perfect rectangle. Bayview and Old City. Old City has not changed any. But then we've got Bayview here, and we've got Emerald Pier. And we've got Daisyfield Park, which this is Daisyfield Road. And then we've got Bolin College, Harper Park. And then this is all a part of Pelican. I forgot the name if that was Pelican. Now we've got people moving in. That's going to cause some traffic. Totally to be expected. Did we get any luck with getting this all cleared out? Like, what's the challenge? The challenge is there are so many people coming down the highway. And with the light there, it's challenging for people to kind of stream out as quickly as they should. But honestly, I kind of like that we've got a section of the city that just doesn't work. I'm into it. Any passengers waiting here? 68 passengers waiting. That's very, very exciting. And we've already got people parking in our updated parking lot, which looks great. All right, guys, I think that's where we're going to end this part here. A quick shout out to my channel members. Thanks so much for your support. I really appreciate it. If you're interested in becoming a channel member, click the link in the description below to unlock custom emojis, loyalty badges, early access to videos, save game files, members only content, merchandise discounts, and more. And until next time, leave your questions, comments, and feedback down below, and I will see you guys in the next one. Lord, I follow your dad out. I can't have your tippy taps. I can't edit them out.